It was like a record, I think, for how quick. It was like I looked at the call log. It was like 27 seconds.
Oh no!
That's got to be a record.
It's a little down and dirty, but it's still PG.
You might think I'd bring up Joe, that guy who broke up with me on the phone, but I'm not going to mention him.
We chose to do it so that people first and foremost would listen to the music first before dissecting the fact that we did it together.
Yeah. Taylor Swift's love life has fueled some of the most iconic tracks in her career, and let's be real, heartbreak is basically her secret weapon. From quick flings to long-term love stories and even a little pop star beef, each chapter left behind unforgettable songs. Taylor's exes helped inspire some of her best work. Let's rewind through the greatest hits of Swift's breakup history. Joe Jonas. Okay, so let's rewind to 2008, aka the era of side bangs, skinny jeans, and the Jonas Brothers literally ruling Disney Channel. Taylor Swift was just 18 when she dated Joe Jonas for a few months, and let's just say, the breakup was not exactly a fairy tale. Joe ended things with a phone call that lasted, wait for it, 27 seconds. That's not even a full TikTok, people. Forget popcorn, you can't even microwave a Hot Pocket in that time. Taylor later joked about it on Ellen, saying she'd eventually find the right guy and wouldn't even remember the boy who broke up with me in 25 seconds. Savage!
It was like a record, I think, for how quick. It was like I looked at the call log. It was like 27 seconds.
Oh no!
That's got to be a record.
But come on, you know Taylor. She doesn't just move on, she turns heartbreaks into platinum. Forever and Always made the cut on her Fearless album, and Swifties are convinced Mr. Perfectly Fine, Better Than Revenge, and Last Kiss were also inspired by Mr. Phone Call himself. And she didn't stop there. When she hosted SNL in 2009, she roasted him in her monologue, saying she wouldn't talk about Joe while completely talking about Joe. Legendary levels of shade.
You might think I'd bring up Joe, that guy who broke up with me on the phone, but I'm not going to mention him in my monologue.
Still, it's all water under the bridge now. By 2019, Taylor admitted she went a little too hard back then, calling herself mouthy. Growth. Or as Swifties would say, character development. John Mayers. She was 19, he was not. And let's just say this romance didn't exactly end in harmony. Fans didn't even need detective hats to figure it out. Taylor literally dropped Dear John on her 2010 Speak Now album, and the lyrics were basically neon signs. Don't you think 19 is too young to be played by your dark, twisted games? Like hello, subtlety has officially left the chat. Swifties heard that and went, oh, she's naming names without naming names. And here's the kicker, John Mayer himself straight up admitted he thought the song was about him. In a 2012 Rolling Stone interview, he confessed he felt humiliated by it. He basically said, imagine being at your absolute lowest point and then boom, someone drops a Billboard hit that paints you as the villain. Ouch. That's not just heartbreak, that's public relations damage. Triple yikes. And here's the thing, Taylor wasn't just venting, she was archiving. Turning messy breakups into lyrical daggers is her superpower, and Dear John was less a breakup song and more a giant flashing warning label. Don't mess with a songwriter who can turn your text messages into Grammy material. Mayer may have felt scorched, but Swifties, they were feasting. This was drama they could replay on loop. Taylor Lautner. Taylor Swift and Twilight heartthrob Taylor Lautner met while filming Valentine's Day, and for a hot second it was the ultimate Tay-squared love story. 2 teen idols, 1 movie set, and a fling that had fans absolutely losing it. They were young, cute, and so on brand it felt scripted, like Hollywood's PR team had secretly written it in the stars. But like most rom-coms, the credits rolled way too early, and the relationship didn't exactly make it past the sequel stage. One minute they were grabbing frozen yogurt, the next, done. Classic early 2010s whiplash. The real tea didn't spill until years later, when Lautner's Scream Queens co-star Lea Michele grilled him on Facebook Live about possibly inspiring a Swift song. His answer? That's what she does, she writes songs. Case closed. And he didn't just hint, he straight up confirmed it. The track was Back to December, which, plot twist, is one of the rare Taylor breakup songs that reads more like an apology than a roast. Swifties couldn't believe it. Taylor apologizing in a song? Wild! So in the grand ex-boyfriend lineup, Lautner walked away looking like the good guy. Respect. Fast forward to 2023 and it's all love vibes. Taylor brought him on stage during her Eras tour in Kansas City for the debut of her I Can See You video, which he starred in. He literally backflipped on stage like her hype man. And to top it off, he and his wife, also named Taylor, gushed about supporting her on their podcast. No messy subtweets, no lingering shade, just mutual hype and wholesome sequel energy. Honestly, Lautner might go down in history as the rare Swift ex who got the happiest ending. Jake Gyllenhaal. The Jake Gyllenhaal saga is basically Swiftie folklore at this point. Taylor and Jake only dated for a few months in 2010, but the breakup fallout? Absolutely legendary. Fans are convinced Red is basically Jake's scrapbook. We are never ever getting back together, state of grace, the moment I knew, every lyric felt like it had his name written in invisible ink. And let's be honest, the shade-filled line about some indie record that's much cooler than mine, that's Jake in a nutshell, cardigan and all. But the crown jewel of this heartbreak has to be All Too Well. First released as a 5-minute gut punch, Taylor leveled it up in 2021 with the 10-minute version and a short film starring an actor who could have been Jake's stunt double. Translation: zero chill, maximum devastation. And then there's the scarf lyric. Suddenly the internet turned into CSI knitwear, with fans debating scarf custody like it was a federal case. Enter Dionne Warwick, absolute legend, who jumped on Twitter to call Jake out like everyone's favorite fed-up aunt. If that young man has Taylor's scarf, he should return it. Box it up, I'll pay postage. Iconic. Jake may have thought this was just a fling, but for Swifties it became an entire cinematic universe. And that scarf? More famous than half of Hollywood, period. Harry Styles. There was only one direction this was headed, right? Taylor Swift and Harry Styles were basically the prom king and queen of pop when they got together in late 2012. Paparazzi caught them strolling through Central Park like they were auditioning for a Nicholas Sparks movie, and then by New Year's Eve, they were making out in Times Square while the entire world watched. Cue teenage Twitter going into full meltdown mode, with hashtags flying faster than Harry's hair in the wind. But like most whirlwind romances, this one's flamed out fast. Still, the breakup gave us some of Taylor's most iconic bops. Style? You don't need Sherlock Holmes to crack that one. It's literally in the name. Out of the Woods? Chock full of hairy Easter eggs, from two-paper airplanes flying to Taylor rocking a suspiciously familiar blue dress in the music video, just like the one she wore leaving their infamous British Virgin Islands trip. Swifties basically became detectives with crime boards, pins, and yarn, connecting dots like it was an FBI case file. And while I Knew You Were Trouble technically dropped before they went public, many fans still side-eye that track as Harry-inspired. Either way, their relationship may have burned fast and crashed hard, but it left behind pure pop gold. Honestly, totally worth it for 1989 alone. Joe Alwyn. Now here's the plot twist. Taylor's longest relationship before Travis wasn't some short-lived tabloid fling. Nope, it was with British actor Joe Alwyn, and it lasted a whopping 6 years. In Swiftie time, that's basically a century. From 2016 to 2023, they kept things super low-key, dodging paparazzi, rumors, and headlines like stealthy little ninjas. Taylor even admitted her Midnight's track Lavender Haze was inspired by that vibe of blocking out the noise and protecting the real stuff behind closed doors. But Joe wasn't just Muse material, he was also a ghostwriter. Under the pseudonym William Bowery, because apparently Joe Alwyn wasn't mysterious enough, he co-wrote some seriously heavy-hitting tracks: Exile, Betty, Champagne Problems, Evermore, and even Sweet Nothing. So yeah, his fingerprints are all over the folklore and Evermore era. That's more than a muse, that's a collaborator. Of course, not every love story makes it to the credits. Their 2023 split cracked open the door for some of Taylor's sharpest pens yet. Enter the Tortured Poets department with tracks like So Long London, which fans are convinced are Alwyn-coded. And the album title itself, a cheeky nod, since Joe's group chat with Paul Mescal and Andrew Scott was literally called the Tortured Man Club. Taylor took that and turned it into an entire album. That's not just heartbreak, that's poetic vengeance.
I mentioned you won a Grammy for your work with your girlfriend, Taylor Swift, so that's amazing.
We chose to do it so that people first and foremost would listen to the music first before dissecting the fact that we did it together.
Yeah.
But yeah, we did it under a name, William Bowery, which sounds like...
Very fancy.
Very fancy.
Yeah.
Sounds like a kind of Agatha Christie character
Yeah.
who should be wearing a monocle with a big moustache.
Katy Perry. Okay, so not every Swift song comes from romantic drama. Sometimes it's straight-up pop star beef. Enter Taylor Swift versus Katy Perry. These two queens of the 2010s went from friendly to full-on frenemies, reportedly over backup dancers. Yep, not a cheating scandal, not a friendship betrayal, literally dancers switching camps. And that messy little fallout supposedly lit the fuse for Taylor's 2014 smash Bad Blood. Taylor never dropped names, but let's be real, the title itself was basically a neon sign, and Swifties were convinced the feud had found its soundtrack. And because the pop gods live for extra, the feud didn't just fade quietly, it became the headline drama of the decade. Award show shade? Check. Cryptic interviews? Double check. Fans picking sides like it was a pop Hunger Games? Absolutely. But eventually the ice thawed, and how did they announce peace? In the most Swiftie and over-the-top way possible. Katy Perry crashing Taylor's "You Need to Calm Down" video in a full-on hamburger costume, hugging Taylor, who was dressed as French fries. A fast food truce for the ages. So while Katy wasn't an ex, her feud still birthed one of Taylor's most savage anthems, and their reconciliation, peak meme culture, from bad blood to burger besties, chef's kiss. That's all for this video, folks. We'll see you next time.